Well, hello, Facebook family, everyone that's out there. We're having another beautiful conversation here this afternoon, this morning, wherever you are. And we have a guest here with us, Heather. She's been with us here before, so she's going to tell us a little bit about herself. So we're here on Transforming Your Relationship. We're here every Friday at 5:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So tune in, get your friend, your family, your husband, your wife. There's always a little bit of something here that you can pick up and learn and just bring your relationship maybe a little bit higher than it actually is right now. Maybe a little bit of more contentment, a little bit of more joy, a little bit more, a little bit of everything, basically, to help us to get to where we want to go. So Heather, give us a quick bio. Who's this Heather here that we have as our guest today?
Who's Heather?
Mhm.
Heather is a relationship coach. I have a passion for women making their marriages amazing. We have so much more power than we realize we do on bringing out the best in our men and turning our grumpy husbands sometimes into angels. No, it's a wonderful career. I enjoy. It's just a passion. I have a real heart for marriages staying together. I have a heart for families staying together and not just staying together, but having peace and fun and joy in their home.
Mhm.
Too many couples are just surviving, and families are just surviving, and kids are learning things that will not serve them in their marriages in the future. So I just want to change generations by just come alongside women and helping them to make some changes that make their marriage great. It's an awesome calling. Love it.
Yes, I can fully agree with you. The work that you do is so impactful to so many ladies, but it's not just impacting the wives; it's actually impacting their husbands,
Yeah,
and even those
it is.
that's not married, even those that surround them that they have for family or friends, and even
Mhm.
myself. Dealing with couples, I mean, I have so many amazing stories that we could actually share with just so many couples that they thought they weren't going to make it. There's a big wedge, a little bit of breach in the contract, so to speak. But
Yep.
after some conversation, and that's all it is. After some conversation, and
Mhm.
individuals, at the end of the day, is really learning to listen to one another and finding out what is the need of one another. Right? I said
Yeah.
this the other day that right now. So, what is it that you need as a wife from your husband? You might have five or six different needs, but even let's name at least three of the needs maybe, and let's try to focus on the one maybe for this week, and the same thing for the husband. So you end up being on the same page, right? And trying to be more emotionally connected than you were before. So
Mhm.
our topic is creating acts of intimacy. Creating
Mhm.
acts of intimacy. And before we start, we're going to start off with a scripture here that Heather's going to bring to us. Go ahead, Heather.
Yes, yes. I have found with the work that I do with women, it all comes down to being based on the fact that in Galatians 5, chapter 5, verse 22, 23, says here during the Amplified version is, but the fruit of the Spirit, the
Mhm.
result of his presence within us, is love, unselfish concern for others, joy, inner peace, patience, not the ability to wait, but how we act when we're waiting,
Mm.
kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self control. So I love that when we choose these acts, as Benito was
Mhm.
saying, acts of intimacy, that's coming and we need it's coming from the fruit of the spirit, and we need the fruit of the spirit within us to bear and share the fruit of the spirit to be successful at this, to love each other the way God calls us to, using this tool, using the Holy Spirit in this way.
Oh, beautiful. You mentioned about at the end about feeling you mentioned about feeling our cup also, not feeling our cup, sorry, self-control, sorry,
Yeah,
self-control. That is so powerful really because if we can practice that, the
oh,
Bible does talk about a man that knows how to control his spirit. It's actually better than a general that take it a city. So if we can only learn self-control in our relationship, how much different would we really show up at the
yeah.
end of the day, at the end of the week, whatever it is, right? So create an
Hmm.
acts of intimacy, and yeah, it's all about self-control and it's all about actually self-awareness. So
Yeah.
let's name off a few. This might be part one or part two, based on the conversation we've been having. So let's name off a few here. So which one you think is one that's pretty prominent that we should actually try to get a grip of, get a hold of?
Yeah, yeah. The first one I like to begin with every client I work with, every woman I work with,
Mm-hmm.
is to fill your cup first. We
Mm,
go on a plane, and that's what they share with us at the first stop before we take off is draw those oxygen masks drop, put yours on first, then you can help someone else with theirs. But you have to do yours first, or you're not going to be useful to anybody. You're not going to be able to manage or help anybody else. So
mm,
I love that analogy and that look at it because we really do neglect, especially as women. I think men do too, but women neglect themselves and are giving in all the other areas because children
mhm,
need us, our husbands need us, our careers, our jobs need us. Um, Families need us. So we can't give if we don't have anything to give. But the pitcher's got to be full. The oxygen mask has to be on. And I
mhm,
find for so many years, I would put everybody else's on them. I'm not wearing one myself, put everybody else's on. And then I go back and I readjust them and I readjust them and I make sure they're tight and I make sure the oxygen's flowing properly. And you're working on their masks on a regular basis. And I wasn't putting one on for myself. So it's been the biggest game changer in my marriage is me filling up my cup first. And that always seemed selfish to me for so many years, but
mhm,
I don't believe that's the truth anymore. And
mm.
I was believing that lie for a long time and it wasn't serving me at all. And so what I discovered was I have to make myself happy. I'm in charge of my happy. It's not anybody
Absolutely.
else's job to make me happy. It's not my husband's. That's not on his just job description. It's not my kids. It's not anybody. It's my job to make me happy. And so what does that look like? What makes me happy? I had to create a list for myself and then purposely choose to pick some off every day and enjoy myself.
Like what you said, it's not your husband's job description.
No, it's not. And when that's a lot of pressure on somebody to say, "Well, you're in charge of my happy. So what are we doing today? How are you going to do that? I need it." That's a horrible weight for someone else to have in the relationship.
Well, it's the line that you've heard. So many of us have used it before. If mom is happy, then everybody's happy, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm filling mama's cup, but what about who's filling my cup?
that's right. You know what? You're right. It's not just women who need to fill their cups, and men do a lot of managing themselves too. God,
Hmm.
we all have to fill our own cup. We all have to fill it first so we can pour into other people's lives, pour into the loved ones that we have into their lives.
And being
And
able to, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, when we're happy because we
Mhm.
filled our own cup, we get to share that happy with everybody else, and it's a desirable attribute to see in someone. You want to be around the person who's happy. That's attractive. You're drawn to them. And in
Right.
my marriage, if I'm happy, Mike wants to hang out with me more. He wants more time
Mhm.
with me because who doesn't want to be around happy Heather? That's awesome. And when
Yeah,
my cup is empty, super grumpy over here. That is no fun to
okay.
hang out with. Grumpy Heather's not
Okay.
fun to hang out with. So
Nobody wants to hang out with Heather.
no, there's no intimacy going to be happening with grumpy Heather. That's just not. There's no hand holding. There's no whispers in my ear. There's nothing. It just stays
Mm.
far away. Grumpy's not fun.
As you're speaking, the thought that come to my mind, I spoke on this here and had some studies on it actually, is relationship boundaries, right? So
Yeah,
if I don't have any boundaries pertaining to my relationship, pertaining to myself, exactly, I'm making everybody else happy.
yeah,
I'm saying yes to Heather all the time, but I'm saying no to me all the time, right? And
yeah,
so when do I actually get to say yes to myself, so I can enjoy me, so I can be happy, like you said, right? It's not the wife job to make the husband happy. It's not. Matter of fact, that wasn't even in the vow when they spoke to one another at the altar.
yeah. Exactly, exactly. We didn't promise that, but yet it can be expected in our
Right.
marriages if we're not thinking along
Hmm.
those lines, not
So
aware.
So you mentioned about filling your cup first, and I wonder how many out there that's listening that you're filling everybody else's cup, and yours is just seems to be empty all the time. And then you wonder why, as you mentioned, you wonder why you're frustrated, you wonder why you're discouraged, you wonder why you're so tired, you wonder
Oh,
why you're so moody. Is it possible that you are filling somebody else's cup all the time? Is it possible you're filling your husband cup all the time and nothing is being
mm-hmm,
poured back into you, right? So there's
mm-hmm.
challenges that's there, but Heather works with women. By the way, her website is Heather P. Not her last name is spelled as Piechnik .com. So you can reach Heather if you want, those ladies that are listening out there, if you want to be in touch with her to help you be at a better place than where you are today. And for the couples that are out there or individuals, my website also is www.tlcbonitogrange.com. So let's
Mhm.
carry on here. So relationship boundaries is definitely should be paramount in one's relationship. It's not a matter of
Mhm.
being mean because sometimes when you create your own boundaries, folks think you might be mean because, but it's my boundaries. It's for me to maintain my own
Yeah.
happiness, right? My own joy and everything else.
Yeah, yeah. I had explained to me recently that was really helped clarify it for me too, because I always thought it was kind of being selfish or it's all about me kind of
That's
thing.
right. Yeah.
But yet
Hmm.
I know they're important. And so how it was explained to me was you set a boundary not to change anybody else's behavior, just to
Right.
let them know what choice you'll make if that behavior is going on. And I
Mm.
love that. It wasn't about changing somebody else or telling them they need to behave differently. It was
Hmm.
just saying, hey, if this happens, cool. I'll probably leave the room, or I'll probably head off and go do something else.
Right.
I won't stay around.
Hmm.
And yeah, I just thought it was a lovely way to understand it, was just you looking after you, and but not being out to change somebody else in any way.
Right. I think in the past, with many of us, including myself too, we'd feel guilty if we're not filling somebody else's cup.
Yeah.
And it seems like we're more concerned about how they feel about us more than how I feel about myself.
Yes. Yes.
But
Yes.
and so if you can get that, if we that mindset has to be changed one way or the other, and it's not a matter of being yeah, it's a matter of being selfish, for lack of better words. You're being selfish in the sense because you're finally looking after you first. Because if you don't look after you, then if you don't serve you first, then you're not able to help those that are out there also too, right? So
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
fill your cup first. Yeah, I
Fill your
love
cup first. Yeah.
that.
Super important.
All right, and let's move on to the next one here. What would so we're talking about, folks, those are just coming about creating acts of intimacy. There's so many different ways. So we're just gonna name just a few that's so important. Go ahead.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, just recapping on fill your cup. That's
Okay.
I mean, not, who my husband wants to hold my hand, or he wants to acknowledge me or thank me for different things when my cup is full. When I'm creating my own happy, that
Hmm.
again, it's a magnet for him. And
Mm,
I love that. I love that that gives me the love I want from him, because I am looking after me and filling my cup so I can pour into his life, pour into our kids' lives, pour into whoever God calls me to pour
mm,
into. And so that is it's attractive. And so it does create intimacy. I didn't connect those two dots for so many years, but
right.
now I have, and it's worked beautifully. But the
You
second
know,
one I love to help
before you
women with.
move on there, we're still
Oh,
on that
okay.
a little bit. I want to move on, but these thoughts keep on coming, right?
I know, right?
Uh, I know of an individual that they thought they were filling their spouse's cup, but
Yeah.
that is not what the spouses wanted for their cup to be filled. And
Hmm.
until there was conversations uh, after that, then they recognized that I appreciate what you're doing, but you're filling you're trying to fill my cup the way that you want to fill it, not the way that I want to fill it, right? And that
Hmm.
that also ties in a little bit about not a little bit. That's actually synchronized and ties in with the love language, but that's another conversation. So,
Absolutely.
so
Yeah.
okay, so let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. The second act of intimacy, or how would I put it? Change you can make, place
Hmm.
to focus, is respecting him, respecting her,
Hmm.
respecting him. For men, respect is like oxygen. Well, you know better than I do, but you're the man in this conversation.
Hmm.
That's
Absolutely.
what I have just that's what I've heard, learned, discovered, and
Hmm.
that um, if the respect isn't there. And I thought I was a really respectful wife. Like I thought, oh, that's an easy one. I got this. But like I don't yell, I don't freak out, I don't call them names. Like I'm very respectful.
Right.
But then when I read a couple of books on it and got some training in this, it was like, ooh, maybe not. Maybe I've got some work to do here.
Hmm.
And something as simple as choosing a parking spot. If I'm taking over in the car, he's driving, but I'm steering
Okay.
because I'm saying,
Okay.
hey, there's a parking spot there. Take that one. That's the one we need.
Oh,
And then you can go that direction. I can go this direction. It'll be all good. Well, that's not a respectful, a respectful conversation. He's very capable of finding the right parking spot for us, or any parking spot. Like it doesn't have to be my way. And so that really was an eye opener. It was like, what? That's called disrespect? Like, oh wow, I got some work to do. That's just a tip of the iceberg for me.
But he never came across and told you it
Nope.
was being
Didn't say a
disrespectful.
word. Didn't say a word.
A lot of
And
ladies need to listen to this one now, right?
yeah, yeah. It was just like, wow. And often when we're disrespectful, it puts up their defenses. It puts up your guys' defense mechanisms. Like they're just
Absolutely.
like on
Yes.
the defense. Like if they're not
Yes.
feeling respected, then they're not gonna be there. And it's awesome to be, it's important to believing in our
Mhm.
guys, to
Mhm.
believe the best in them and to focus on the best of them too. And
Right.
having faith in them is helps them to have faith in themselves and helps
Mm.
me to reduce my stress level. If I'm freaking out thinking, well, he's not going to do this right, he's not going to do that right, I'm not
Right.
having faith in him. I'm wound up. I'm using a lot of energy in that direction. But when I actually just relax and have faith in him, it's very peaceful for me. It's far more enjoyable ride for me. Absolutely.
What if he's always making the wrong decision all the time?
Well, that's yeah. Wrong decision based on whose rules. I got my own rules. He's got his. So I gotta taper my rules slightly. But when I respect my husband, I'm careful. But believe me, I do not win at this game every day. It it
Mhm.
it takes a lot, and I certainly can't do it on my own. But if I dismiss him, if I criticize him,
Mhm.
contradict him,
Mhm.
try and teach him something to be done my way,
Right.
um, it,
Stay on your
it,
page.
it, it's all working against me. It's never going to get me what I want, and it's not respect.
So is it are you actually previously learning all this too, right? And myself has
Yeah.
read a few of the same books that you have read too. Uh, did you actually say, hey Mike, you know what, I'm gonna start respecting you more, or did you just start
Ooh.
action the things that you have learned that would something that he would, appreciate knowing that a man needs that respect. So was there
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
conversation? Was there a conversation with him saying, "Hey, you know what? I want to start respecting you more, like moving forward."
No, absolutely not. I was that was all. I follow I absolutely love Laura Doyle and her book, The Empowered Wife,
Hmm.
and she's got amazing tools in there. And
Yes.
I started following her ideas and
Hmm.
quietly. I did not want any accountability around it. I was
Hmm.
fearful that my husband was going to be like, well, don't forget, you got to follow those rules. You got to make sure you're respecting me. Like I did not set myself up to be accountable to him at all. I just did it
Okay.
quietly, and it was powerful. And he, was surprised, didn't always trust it initially because it was like, wow, who's this woman? That's not who I married, or
Okay.
it's not how it's been going the last 26 years. Been much better the last 4, so I'm pretty excited about that. But no, it was just on my own quietly on my
Okay.
own between God, just God and I doing it together. It was
Mm.
nothing to do with him, which was great.
So how much was a challenge that for you to have that mind shift, if you please?
How much of it was a challenge? Oh my gosh, it's still a challenge, Benito. They say it takes 1,000 times of practice to
Okay.
become a master at it, and I cannot say I'm even maybe at 100. I work at it every day, and some
Hmm.
days I get great wins, and some days I don't get such good wins, and
Hmm.
it costs me when I don't. I can see the intimacy fade away, or a wall go up between us in a second if I don't continue to choose these skills.
Hmm.
Um, the one big thing that I learned through about respect was when I am helpful and have suggestions for him, because I think I'm being a helpful wife,
Of course.
he hears that as criticism. And I was criticizing him steady for the first 26 years. So now I stay on my own page and try and not do the suggestions. But just the other day, just to give you an example of how badly I can mess this up or choose
Hmm.
differently, the old way. We were late to go somewhere, and I were driving along, and I did just this little motion. I thought, oh, he probably won't even notice it. But I was frustrated, and I didn't use my self control. I did not use the fruit of the spirit. I didn't lean on the Holy Spirit for this at all. I was just going for it, and I did this little like motion, like let's go, drive faster, is what my motion meant. And I thought, oh, I hope he didn't see that. And I did not grab onto it. It just came, and oh my gosh, he was very upset, and he was like, "Why'd you do that? And what are you talking about?" And he was very, very disappointed, and I felt terrible too. I apologized right away.
Hmm.
Wasn't respectful. I needed to trust him for him getting us there when we needed to get there, and believe in him. and I
Mhm.
did none of those. I was all in trying to control the whole thing myself. So
Okay.
it was a disaster, and we
Mhm.
repaired it quickly. I repaired it quickly. He accepted my repair quickly, which I loved,
Mm.
and we moved on. But it cost me. It cost me intimacy for sure. I could just feel it immediately in the car. I thought, oh, this is all a horrible place to be, and I did it. I caused it. I did not zip it. I did not sit on my hands. I had to say the thing in one way or another. I had to say it, and it didn't. It cost me. It
So
didn't work.
my terminology for that would be there was smoke in the room then.
Oh, there was smoke in the room, in the car, and my poor son's in the back seat, and I'm thinking he must be dying right now. But and great example of what what a wife should be doing. So that was kind of sad, but we
No,
got it.
it's interesting. We did a program here some time back, myself and yourself here, some time back, about a year, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And it was about staying on your own page, which is a
Yes.
form of respect also.
Yes.
And after that, that same night after that, my wife and I went for a drive, and we are coming back from a friend's home, and I was just going to go one way. It might have been long, but I wasn't in a hurry. Just get to spend more time with her, right?
Yeah.
But she said, "No, let's go this way. Let's go on the highway." And then as I made the turn, she says, "Oh my God, I came off my page. No, go the way that you want to go." So here it was. I made a U-turn right in the middle of the road.
Oh.
I went down the way
Love
that
it.
I wanted to go, right?
Yeah.
But so it's having that mindset too. And if you're not self-aware, it seems like maybe the woman's always in control. The woman's always telling the man what to do, and if the man's not aware, it seems like he's always telling the wife what to do and what not to do. And I've said this too in coaching individuals that just because a man is the head, there's nowhere it says in the Bible where he's a supervisor. There's
No.
nowhere it says where he's the boss, right? He's there as the head to guide or spiritually the home and
Hmm.
everything else, be the priest in the home. But at the same time, he does require respect. So he said respect is as oxygen to a man.
Yeah.
So what is oxygen to a woman?
Ooh.
Life,
Love, love, love.
love,
Love
love,
us.
love,
Love us. Unconditionally love us. And we don't
unconditionally.
always earn it. We don't always deserve it necessarily, but when men
Mhm.
choose that anyways and just give it
Right.
to us graciously, oh my goodness, that is everything. It just fills my cup. Well, fills my cup, fills my heart,
Mm.
and the respect flows from me faster and easier when I know he loves
Okay.
me no matter what. They
Mhm.
just play on each other and automatically come from it automatically comes from me when I know his love is there and
Mhm.
solid.
So do you think I've always said a person can love someone but not be emotionally connected to that individual. Like
Hmm.
I love you, but right now I'm for the longest time I haven't been emotionally connected. So it's love that's connecting an emotional love that's creating an emotional connection rather
Hmm.
than just love. That emotion has to be there. That's what I'm hearing from wives. Like he loves me, but I don't feel an emotional connection, right?
Yeah.
We're not in tune with one another. But even what we're speaking about here about creating acts of intimacy, again, respect would be one of them, and love that's help to connect an emotional connection with the individual. So that's
Hmm.
paramount for a wife. So, ladies,
Yeah.
yeah, if you're not getting love and if you're not emotionally connected, then there's lack of oxygen in the room. And in order, men, for us to help increase the oxygen in the room, then we need to show them love. And it's not just a word, gentlemen. It's a husband. It's also an action behind the word
Yeah.
that helps us to connect on another level.
Absolutely. And but
All
it's also a choice. It's not just a feeling. If you're waiting to feel that love and express it to her or
right. Mhm.
feeling like respecting him
Right.
because he's earned it, you're in
Mhm.
trouble. It has to be it's choice. It's a choice you make, a decision um that you're going to live intentionally that way to show that love, to show that respect. And you got to go with your head, not your heart. It's not going to don't wait for the feeling to arise. You've got to
Right.
choose to do that.
But I've heard wives say too, it's hard for me to respect him when I don't
Yeah.
feel that love. It's
Yeah.
a challenge for me to respect him, right? And
Yeah.
it seemed like some says, well, I'm always giving but never receiving, right? So what does the person do in that kind of environment?
Yeah,
What
that's tough. Again, following the fruit of the spirit, you got to you got to just choose. But it's also some you can just grab onto, women to grab onto just one thing they respect about their husband. It
Hmm.
can be the littlest thing that happened five
Okay.
years ago. And we
Okay.
can grab onto that one thing and focus on there, and
Right.
and
Okay.
then share with him. Um, Use the word in a sentence. Use the word in the conversation with
Hmm.
your husband, because when he hears the word respect,
Hmm.
again, it's his oxygen. It fills him up. It helps him
Right.
to breathe really, really deeply and love you deeply. And so I just recommend ladies just look for one little thing they respect. It doesn't have to be the whole picture. And
That's
there's
right.
lots of things, maybe the list is longer what they don't respect,
Right.
but focus
Right.
on what they do and
Hmm.
then grab onto that and express it to him.
Hmm.
Let him know, I really respected that you bring the paycheck home every week or every 2 weeks or whatever it is. I
Right.
respect your hard work for our family.
Hmm.
And there might be again lots of things you don't respect about him, but if you give him that, he'll
Hmm.
want he'll want more. He'll want to know what else you respect him for. Actually, I heard that in a love and respect book and a video series I did years ago. And the
Hmm.
challenge I heard on the radio, which I did with my husband, which was fascinating, was, and ladies, I suggest you do this, is to just tonight, just ask your husband, what are five, no, today I was thinking about you. Today I'm thinking about you today. I was thinking about some things that I really respect about you.
Hmm.
99% of the time, they will ask you, well, what were they? What
Mm.
were they? They'll want to hear them. They'll matter. They want that oxygen. And
Okay.
so be ready. You got to have five, at least five ready for them. Don't just throw that out there with nothing to answer with. But
Okay.
it's a cool exercise to do with your guy to see how important that respect is to them.
Mm.
So there's a challenge for you. If you're ready for it, there's a challenge to take on of asking your hubby or stating to your husband, to your hubby, today I was thinking about the things I respect about you. It
That's
was
good.
nice, yeah, nice
Yeah.
way to thing to
Yeah.
focus on. And then he'll say, well, what were they? Maybe you could share those or whatever. It'd be fun to see what he does.
That's good. I like what you said. So don't just use that one instant to basically nullify respect
Yeah,
where he's concerned, but think
yeah.
of something that has been done. It could be in the past, could have been yesterday, whatever the case is,
Hmm. Hmm.
and then use that as a starting base, right? Well, that's
Yeah.
good. So we got about 2 minutes left. So there's going to be a part two, folks. Those that are out there on create an acts of intimacy. So we talked about fill your cup first. If you can't fill your cup, if you haven't filled your cup first, then you're going to be short in trying to fill anybody else's cup. Also, we talked about respect. The next one we're going to talk about was giving up control, but we don't have time for that. But
Which,
action. Heather, what kind of action we're going to leave with them here that we talked about?
oh yeah, this is cool. But and I, when we coach, we often give challenges at the end or ask our clients, what's the action you're going to take on this week to practice these new insights? Because you can have
Mhm.
insight, but it doesn't give you results. But when you add
That's
action to insight, that's when you get
mhm.
results in your marriage. And so our challenge to you today, or our mission, if you decide to take it,
Right.
is one of our tools. We have many tools we use and provide for our clients, but this is one of them, and that is, we all have in our marriages, we all have, especially our hubbies, a thing that would be like the baseline, um, wonderful thing that fills our cup. That's like, okay, if she would just go to out for dinner and for a walk afterwards,
Mhm.
that would sustain me. That would be enough to ride out the harder times or to
Right.
feel like that intimacy is there. That would build the intimacy for me.
Mhm.
So that's where, but our calling it is like just a dinner and a walk. Do
Mm.
dinner and a stroll, dinner and a walk. So
Right.
I'm going to ask my husband. I haven't done this yet myself either, but I had a girlfriend ask her husband,
Mhm.
and she was very surprised to hear what his was. She thought she was already providing that dinner and a walk for him,
Okay.
and she was dead wrong. And so she found out it was something completely different. And
Okay.
now she's got the freedom to go, okay, I'm not going to waste my time and energy over here like I thought I was
Right. Right.
accomplishing. And now
Right.
I'm going to take him to the movies once a week, out in the
Mm.
movies and have a good time. And so I love that. I love discovering what dinner and a movie was for her husband,
Okay.
and finding out what hers is too. So I'm going to ask my husband tonight, um, what his dinner and a movie is, what represents that for him, so that
Okay.
I can make sure I'm working smarter, not harder,
On the
on my
same page.
marriage, not putting my
Right.
energy in a different direction where he's like, yeah, whatever, that's can take it or leave it. But
Mm.
this act, this choice that makes me want to be, that brings the intimacy into our marriage, into our relationship.
That's just amazing, fantastic. I'm going to ask my wife the same question too. I have an idea what it is, but I just want to make sure,
Okay, okay.
because I've known individuals that was trying to fill up the cup from for their husband, or what is it was something that they wanted to, as I mentioned earlier, right?
Yeah,
It wasn't his dinner and walk. We use that as a figure of speech for those that listen, dinner and walk. So it could be different for you, right?
yeah,
It could be going up for a movie, for a walk. It could be going for a bicycle ride. It could be anything else. So what
yeah.
is your dinner and walk? So I'll challenge you for that. So stay tuned here. Coming up for part two with Heather as my guest. I'm Bonitto Grange, a relationship and life coach. Heather's also a relationship coach. So God bless. We're tuning off, and we'll see you another day. Thanks for tuning.